Alright, so moving right along in 5.5b part 2. For this one, we're actually going to use the existing model that we already have, which we used for the mirror feature in the last one. And we're going to be specifically talking about fillets and chamfers. Now you see some fillets in here around these edges. Whoops. Around these edges. So this is a fillet, this is a fillet, this is, and this is. Pretty much a fillet takes a hard 90-degree edge, or an L-shaped edge, and it converts it into, or changes it into, a rounded edge, a nice smooth edge. And typically you'll do that around edges, to avoid from someone maybe hurting themselves, to kind of curve that surface. So let's go ahead and go back into this model, and I wanted to remind you that you can turn off visibility of like work planes. So like this work plane's kind of getting in my way, so I'm going to just go ahead and right click and turn the visibility off. And I know in here they said that the radius of the fillets is 0.25, but I think there was a mistype there. It should be 0.125. So what we're going to do is add in some fillets, and the fillet tools up here in the modify panel, F on the keyboard is the keyboard shortcut. I'm going to click on that, and then this fillet window pops up. Now we're going to change this radius if it doesn't say 0.125. So you can click in there and you could change that to 0.25 or whatever you want, but we want 0.125. So make sure that that says 0.125. And then I can start clicking edges. So if you remember, it was this edge. Notice how it starts to give you a preview. It was this edge. I'm going to orbit around to make sure I'm grabbing this correctly. It was this edge. I'm going to do the exact same thing but on the other side. So I'm going to click here, here, and here. So I have a total of 6 selected edges, and then I'm going to say OK. So that is how you can add in fillets, and again they create that rounded surface along those 2 edges. The next one we're also going to talk about is a chamfer. And before we add the chamfers, just make sure I'm going to pan this model over, and you need to screen clip this into your binder with the fillets to get points for that. Make sure you include the model browser so I can see that you added the fillets correctly. Alright, so let's talk about the chamfer, which is the next one. Chamfer is a little bit different. If I hover over it, it's up here right next to the fillet tool, but what it does, if you look at the icon, it creates more of an angled surface along an edge rather than a curved surface like the fillet. So they call that a bevel. It bevels the edge. It creates an angled surface along 2 edges, or along 1 edge I should say. So let's go ahead and just click on chamfer, and what we're going to do is chamfer 2 edges, and we're going to chamfer this edge and this edge. As soon as I click on that, you can kind of see the preview of what's going on. If I look in the front view, you can see that it's turning that 90-degree angle, and it bevels that edge and removes it. So that's what we're doing to create a chamfer. And you could adjust the size of the chamfer with the distance right here. So let's say it was 0.5, which won't fit. Let's try 0.3. So you can see that the chamfer is getting bigger compared to a 0.1. See the difference? So let's stick with the same as the radius. Let's do 0.125, and let's say OK. So that's how you can add in a chamfer, and if we look at the front view here, you can see the difference between a chamfer and a fillet. Okay, so those are the 2 new tools that we're learning. Now to get points for the chamfer, pan the model over, Windows Shift S. Make sure you're including the model browser so I can see that you did the chamfer correctly, and you'll get your points for that.